Ladies, gentlemen, and Sacco of the FSL, the greatest fantasy football league on earth. It is your co-historian when we are back with another weekly recap. It's been a while since you've seen my beautiful face. You might be wondering why I'm wearing sunglasses indoors, and honestly, I don't have a good answer for you. This is just kind of how my co-historian personality and persona tends to come off on camera. So we're gonna keep rolling with it. We've had some really good written recaps in my place. We had a couple different people stand in, did a fantastic job. But it's good to be back in the recap seat. I can tell you that. You might be noticing that I'm wearing a Justin Jefferson jersey. Justin, we love you. We miss you. This was actually courtesy of another Justin, Mr. Shuley, in our fantasy league. We had a little jersey bet, and I came out with a win, but at what cost if he's going to be on IR? We've had a lot of injuries. We've had a lot of trades that have gone down. Teams have looked a lot different over the last few weeks. We're going to take a look at everybody's week from last week, where things stand moving forward through the rest of the season. And I say we just jump right in. We had a couple really good matchups this week. The best of all, I think, is actually my own, so we'll start right there. Against Nate, came down to the final play of Sunday Night Football. I don't know if I've ever had a matchup that close. If the Bills don't hold on that last play, I lose 3 points from the touchdown, and that's the matchup. Thankfully, they don't call the flag there. It was a little bit of a controversial play. But yeah, Nate, Travis Kelce, Drake London did all they could. He got some really good contributions from his kicker and defense as well. I was kind of brutalized by injuries. David Montgomery was out. Ramondre Stevenson left for a little bit. He came back, had a nice finish to the game. Jalen Hurts and, of course, Cooper Kupp really stepped up. And the Bills' defense, they held it out in the end. Fantastic. Really happy to pull out a win there. Trevor and Eric, another really exciting one. That came down to Monday Night Football. Justin Herbert versus Tony Pollard. And Eric pulls out his first win. Tony Pollard did just enough to get himself a win. Kyle Pitts, as much as we want to hate on him, and Eric will never cease to remind us, he is a tight end one on the season technically, and pulled out just enough for Eric to pull out the W. Trevor's had some really tough luck with injuries. Kyron Williams goes down 2 on top of his previous Nick Chubb injury, and Aaron Rodgers affecting Garrett Wilson. So there's been some talk about whether that all that whining and complaining for injuries is justified for Trevor, with some other teams, mine included, also having some pretty hefty injury tolls on the season. But you can't knock that Trevor has had some really tough luck, and he currently sits near the bottom of the standings. So tough loss for Trevor, another tough injury loss for his team, and him and Eric both sit tied at the bottom of the standing. So not a good look for either of them. Next matchup on the board, we've got Brandon and Shuley. Brandon pulls out the win despite the Christian McCaffrey injury. Tua had another great game. Isaiah Pacheco looks good. A.J. Brown. And Adam Thielen, the pickup of the season so far. Jury is still out on whether or not he's going to be able to keep this up for the rest of the season. But 28.5 points, I mean, it was the difference in this matchup. Hate to see McCaffrey go down. Brandon gets his first taste of some real injury luck, or I guess lack thereof. Hope the best for CMC. Football and fantasy is just not the same when he's not around. Shuley's side, Shuley's team is starting to round up into a pretty solid team. Puka came down to earth this week. Dameon Pierce had a rough game, but Alvin Kamara looks good. Keenan Allen looks great. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, in his debut for Shuley, drops a 30 bomb. Wasn't able to push him over into the win column this week, but I like both of these teams moving forward. Next up, in easily the worst matchup of the week, Ryan and Jerry. Both teams failed to score 100, and sometimes, it's better to be lucky than good, and I think this is Jerry's second time on the season with a win and not scoring 100 points, but you won't see him complaining. Tyreek Hill, another 30 bomb, counted for almost a third of his points, the rest mostly coming from Mahomes and Justin Tucker. It's the Jerry way, stars and scrubs, but if he wants to start putting up consistent points and getting wins, he's going to need some help. Would look first to Devontae Adams, who's been having a rough go of it recently. We'll see how that goes with the new quarterback against the Bears this week. On Ryan's side, Derrick Henry came back, had a nice game. Zach Moss continues to have a nice game, but that actually might prove to be a negative for him if he's going to take away from Jonathan Taylor. Ryan's got both of them. A little shocked to see Tyler Lockett on the bench. Man has a jersey of him and decided to start Rondale Moore, the keeper and the Purdue homer pick. It wouldn't have mattered in this matchup. It was just interesting to look back and see that in the matchup. But Debo Samuel's injury and his 1.1 was too much to overcome this week. Next up, we've got Sacco and Kunis. Kunis' injury problems just go from bad to worse with Justin Fields. Himothy himself down for the count with a thumb injury. He's going to be out for, well, TBD. We don't quite know yet. And his other quarterback, Anthony Richardson, both looked so fantasy promising from the start of the season. Anthony Richardson's now out for the season, and just when Himothy had hit his stride, it looked like he's now down for the count as well. Kunis doesn't even break 85 on the week, so a really tough matchup for him this week. Sacco, on the other hand, or Bean for those who are trying to follow along, he put up a solid week. 118. His team's looking pretty good. He's got a lot of really good depth. If he can get superstar performances out of ETN and Diggs, and he'll need more than 13 from Josh Allen. But if he can get superstar performances with the depth that he has, he's got a pretty solid looking outlook for the rest of the season. With Jacoby Myers, the new #1 receiver on the Raiders. I'm not sure how that's going to look without Jimmy G. We'll see with Brian Hoyer next week. But not a bad outlook for Sacco, and he gets a Kunis bye this week. Last up, we've got Josh, my co-historian, #1 in the standings, #1 in the power rankings this week. He put a beat down on our defending champion, AJ. AJ, not a bad week. He had some really solid scores across the board. CeeDee Lamb, Josh Jacobs, Zay Flowers. I mean, he's got a good team. It just wasn't special enough to beat Josh this week, led by Raheem Mostert, his supernova this year so far. And with Devon Achane, however you want to pronounce it, he's not on the field. And being a part of that Dolphins offense is enough. Got Josh in here, my co-historian, for a little bit of extra flavor on his team. Joshy boy, why don't you take it away?
How's it going, FSL? It's your favorite co-historian, Josh, here. Mikey got back from his trip outside the country. I was going to do the video recaps tonight, and he asked me to do the shout-out for some reason. I don't know why, but I agreed to do it. Before I get to my roster breakdown, that's what he wants. It's got to take some trash out first, so hope you guys can see this. We got some Jerry and some Kunis right there. A little Brandon right here. Fresh AJ ready to go out. And just how he likes them, big, black, and stinky. Got Nate Bratton right there. So got to get these guys out to the two dumpsters, 0 and 5. I think I'm going to change the name, though, to Trevor and Trev Jr. Because, I mean, after losing to Eric, you're nothing more than two stinky dumpsters behind a B-Dubs and a strip mall in Harrison, Ohio. So doesn't get quite lower than that, other than Sacco probably. So, yeah. Anyway, just doing a quick rundown of my team. Left the draft, was pretty confident I had a good team. Didn't know it'd be this good. Can thank the emergence of Raheem Mostert in the 12th for that. He's been having a monster year, not looking like any bit of 31 years old. T-Law, he's being pretty average. I'd like a little bit more out of him. There's still time for that. My running backs outside of Mostert, Bijan, and Kenneth Walker are just elite. Would like to see some more production from my wide receivers, but for the most part have been solid. Jamar finally getting the production he wants. Waddle being a part of that Dolphins offense. And Ayuk doing his thing and finally emerging as the wide receiver one we all know and love. So yeah, I'm really happy with my team. I like my depth. Michael Thomas is huge. He's a good floor player to get in there. He's going to get some starting time this week. I also got some cuffs for both my running backs, which I'm very happy with in case, God forbid, anything were to happen to them. Knock on wood. Anyway, yeah, really happy with my team. Seems like most of the league is buying in on me being #1, which always ends in an utter collapse. So fuck you guys for that. But yeah, here's to another week, and best of luck to the rest of you guys' teams this season. And yeah.
Thank you, Josh. my co-historian. You can always count on him to take out the trash. I know it can get pretty stinky sometimes with some of the guys and teams we've got in this league. So your contributions are very much appreciated. That's all I've got for you this week. Standings is starting to take shape a little bit. We've got two teams, Brandon and Josh at 5-1. Two teams at the bottom, Eric and Trevor, or sounds like Trevor and Trevor Jr. At the bottom at 1-5. Got a few 2-4, 3-3, and 4-2 teams. A lot can happen in this league. We've seen it. Nobody's safe. Nobody's quite out of it just yet. That's the beauty of the FSL. I expect things to take a little bit clearer shape coming up in the next few weeks. Good luck to everybody this week, except for Jerry. Good luck to everybody, including Jerry, for the rest of the season, of course. And yeah, we've got football again tonight. We've got the Jaguars. We've got the Saints. Another good slate of games coming up this week, or weekend, I should say. And yeah, looking forward to it as always. Wishing everybody a Shavua Tov.